Well, Tom Nichols, a former professor at the U.S. Naval War College, wrote in The Atlantic that the question on the minds of the top military commanders after listening to Donald Trump yesterday must have been, how can I know that an order I received to launch my missiles came from a sane president? They won't know. How many flashes of insanity from a president should we tolerate? That sounds like something that deserves a zero tolerance policy. And we have never seen public flashes of insanity from any president other than Donald Trump, and we now see them every day.
Donald Trump is no stranger to chaos, but this latest meltdown has military leaders, lawmakers, and even his own party asking the unthinkable. Is the President of the United States mentally fit for office? And as America faces a government shutdown, the question of the 25th Amendment is no longer theoretical. It's urgent.
A president who has failed to get his funding plan passed by a Congress completely controlled by his party, then spends the day creating public versions of his hallucinations about the Democratic leaders of the House and the Senate. The president gives every indication that you could possibly ask for, that he has lost his mind, and every single elected Republican official in Washington excuses it. Most of them run away from it. They don't even want to talk about it. And the highest-ranking elected Republican in Washington says, it's funny. Those were his words. It's funny. The Vice President of the United States is empowered by the Constitution to convene the cabinet to take a vote under the 25th Amendment to temporarily relieve the president of his duties and install the vice president as the acting president when the president is obviously insane or when the president is incapacitated in some way, mental or physical, and obviously cannot do the job. Most Republicans in Washington are running away from the question of, is Donald Trump insane for posting crazy social media lies about Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in the middle of a government shutdown or in the middle of any workday for a president when Donald Trump is supposed to be trying to find a solution to that shutdown and other governing challenges.
Think about that. We're talking about generals, the people with their fingers on the nuclear codes, openly worrying about whether the commander-in-chief is sane enough to give them lawful orders. That's not partisan. That's national security.
It sure looked like 25th Amendment Day in the White House today, where Donald Trump was not publicly visible. And the Vice President of the United States took to the microphone on day one of the government shutdown to basically assure the country, I guess, that he's in charge. And very specifically and deliberately to draw attention to Donald Trump's public insanity by actively seeking out an opportunity to talk publicly about Donald Trump's manifestations of outright insanity.
Instead of solving the shutdown he created, Trump spent his time online posting racist memes of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. And while he mocked, millions of Americans faced the reality of losing health insurance. That's not leadership. That's derangement.
On the sombrero thing, I mean, Hakeem Jeffries said it was racist, and I know that he said that, and I honestly don't even know what that means. Like, is he a Mexican-American that is offended by having a sombrero meme? I mean, I saw one of the major TV stations put the meme up and then say, this is AI generated. And he had like the curly animated mustache too. It's like, do you really not realize the American people recognize that he did not actually come to the White House wearing a sombrero and a black curly animation mustache? Like, give the country a little bit of credit. We're all trying to do a very important job for the American people. The President of the United States likes to have a little bit of fun when he's doing it, and I think that's okay.
Of course he thinks it's okay. James David Vance wants to start publicly acting as president as soon as possible, as he did today when Donald Trump was totally invisible, perhaps slumped over in exhaustion too weak from yesterday's exertion of giving a speech to slather on his homemade orange makeup and to think of something to say to the American people about why he shut down the government. Donald Trump was incapable of doing that today. And so J.D. Vance jumped forward. Why did J.D. Vance and every Republican in Washington, why are they in favor of taking health insurance away from Americans and only from Americans? Donald Trump didn't even have the energy today to lie again about Democrats trying to provide health insurance for undocumented immigrants. That is a lie. And Donald Trump thinks that that lie is brilliantly underlined by him tacking mariachi music and sombreros onto videos of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, and the vice president thinks it's funny, but he hasn't explained the joke. In all that explaining he was trying to do of whatever it is Donald Trump is doing with those videos, J.D. Vance could not explain the joke.
And while Trump hid from the cameras, Vice President J.D. Vance stepped up to the microphone, signaling what many see as a shadow presidency already in motion. But here's the real scandal. Republicans know this behavior is dangerous, and instead of stopping it, they laugh it off.
No one has described how we do it better than Jon Stewart, and what has always been for me his finest moment of so many fine moments. It was 15 years ago when many of us thought then that our politics were coming apart, that people were losing the ability to talk to each other across the political divide. Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert went to Washington and of a Saturday afternoon held a rally called the Rally to Restore Sanity. Jon Stewart created that day an image of our cooperation that I found then and now unforgettable. He located that cooperation in the place that so many Americans think of as the roughest place in the country, the rudest place in the country, certainly, a place they certainly never want to have to try to navigate through traffic jams, a place where everything from the outside seems chaotic and impossibly crowded.
From racist AI memes to attacks on military officers with beards, this isn't governing. This is chaos dressed up as power. And here's the contrast. While Trump plunges America into crisis, Jon Stewart once reminded us of something powerful. The only way through darkness is cooperation. You go, then I'll go. Something Trump and his enablers have sworn to destroy. So ask yourself, when a president mocks, divides, and refuses to govern, while even generals question his sanity, is this politics as usual? Or is it time to start asking whether America needs saving from its own president?